Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I know last week's episode was a bit short and this one is also a bit shorter, not for lack of trying, just for the fact that there's not that much to say about it, but I did promise you guys a story time, so this is it. This is going to be the story time about the puppy that never came. Like I said, things were up in the air about it and it took a bit of sorting out, and unfortunately we didn't get the puppy, and I'll explain the entire situation. Welcome back. I hope you enjoy this. Let's just get into it. So this year, as you know, I started a new job. Through this job I met one of my co-workers. So when I started, I was training under someone. They left and a different employee came back. She was on leave for her birthday for about 2 weeks, a month, something like that. She always takes off for her birthday. So for the month of February, I think she wasn't going to be working. And then she came back beginning of March. And through her, I found out that there was a puppy available. So my co-worker's sister-in-law had a dog who was having a litter of puppies. And she was like, they can't take care of all the puppies, but they're going to give it to a shelter or something like that. And she's like, they're just trying to give the puppies away to good homes. What is your history with dogs? Like, what does your place look like and stuff? And they were just like, okay, cool. We were going to get a puppy. So this happened literally like beginning of March. And I literally messaged my mom. I'm like, do you want a puppy? She's like, we've been looking for a new dog because our one is getting very old. And I got one last year. My puppy turned 1. So we got a new dog recently and it was incredible. And we were like, we want another dog to grow up with this one because they're going to be with us for like the next decade or so. So we found out beginning of March this puppy was available. I spoke to the family. They're like, yes, we're going to get the dog. And we were just excited. For 2 months straight, we were just like, yes, so excited. The very next day I got to work and I'm just like, family said, yes, we're taking the puppy. She's like, okay, the puppies are going to be born round about here. I'll bring him the dog this day. I'll have my husband bring him off to work and, well, bring the puppy. We were hoping for a girl. And, I'll get my husband to bring the puppy off to work and you can take the puppy home. And I was like, perfect. I put the date in my calendar. Everything was set in stone. Fast forward 2 months and we get the call. The puppies were born. We get the pictures. As the 2 months progresses, we get updates like, oh, she gave birth this day, like, here's what the puppies look like, this one is going to be yours, like pictures and everything. We were so excited. We were debating names. It was just exciting for like literally 2 months. And then the week of the puppy supposedly coming to us, we hear literally on the day we were supposed to get the puppy, my father said no. So for this week, the entire week from Monday to Saturday, we were like, what are we going to name the puppy? What are we going to name the puppy? What are we going to name the puppy? And we did debating names back and forth. And then on the day of getting the puppy, my dad decides to change his mind and just go, nope, we're not getting the dog. And we had an argument about it and it still just didn't help. But everyone was just disappointed. Like there were no words to describe the feeling in the room. It was just sadness and disappointment. There was nothing you could do about it. It was so sad. And the worst part was there was nothing that would make it better. So we all just had to kind of just sit in it and wallow in that misery and just get it out because we had to move on. The very next day I was like, look, my dad said no, my mom said yes, we still want it. Is it possible to just still get the dog? And she was like, they can't really keep the dog for that long. They said they're going to get rid of them and give them to the proper shelter that will find homes for them. Like, we can't really wait. And then I was like, please. And she said, okay, let me find out what can happen. And I asked, like, can you keep the dog till Thursday? And she's like, I'll see what they say. And she's like, okay, they're going to keep the dog. So the dog was on hold and my mom was coming back and we were just waiting. Like, mom gets home, then we can get the dog. And the Tuesday, she messages me and tells me, this is my coworker, that they gave the puppies away. They just couldn't wait any longer. And that was like a double blow because it was like an up and down emotional roller coaster of you're going to get the puppy, you're not going to get the puppy. There's a chance you're going to get it again and then it's taken away from you. And that is so sad. Like even just speaking about it again is making me sad because it was, like I said last week, sometimes it's better to not have someone and lose them too much. You form a bond and then lose them kind of a thing. same thing. It's like you don't know what you're missing out on, but sometimes that's better for you because you can just move on easier. And that's kind of what I'm surmising this process and entire thing to be, because it's hectic. You know, this up and down of going through the motions and then not getting it in the end. It's kind of like that meme of disappointed but not surprised. You knew something like this could happen, so you're not surprised, but that sting of disappointment is still there. We've had to deal with it, and it was sad because it's like this anticipation, and then nothing. We've, for the most part, gotten over it, but it's not something you truly ever completely get over. We're moving there. Everyone was disappointed about it, and we've gotten past it, but it still stings a little. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said in my podcast about 2-3 weeks ago, when it's meant for you, it'll come in the time it's meant for you. This puppy wasn't meant to be. Maybe we'll get a cat. Maybe we won't. We'll see what happens. But it's probably for the best. One thing I know I did learn about this experience is I'm older and wiser enough to raise a dog right. When I got my most recent dog a year prior to November last year, it was hard, raising a tiny little puppy. He's so big now, but it's been such an amazing experience that I can appreciate it. Sometimes when you get a dog when you're small, you don't appreciate the effort that goes into raising a dog. Which is why some people treat their dogs like children. And I get it now that I'm older. So having a puppy when you're older in life just makes you that much more responsible, but it also teaches you so much more valuable lessons that you wouldn't have had otherwise. That's why I said I knew this puppy would be a challenge, and I don't know how we would have handled it. So maybe it's for the best that we didn't get it, but it still doesn't take away that disappointment and sadness. My dog is coming up on 2 years this year, like end of year November, and having him has changed my personal perceptions, and it's been an amazing experience. So I don't think I would ever change that, and I would always wish for that again, which is why we were so adamant on the puppy. But that aside, it is what it is. And that can round out to the song that is this week's one, which is Meant to Be by Bebe Rexha and that country boy band, whatever they are. It was a very famous song a while back, but meant to be. And the lyrics are basically, if it's meant to be, it will be, which is basically the summary of this entire podcast. If it was meant to be, it would have been, but it wasn't, so it isn't. I'll leave you with that weird thought, and hope you have a brilliant week ahead. Love you. Bye.